Welcome to the Impact on the Ground podcast series. I'm Tiia Sammalahti, CEO of whatimpact.com. In this podcast series, we'll dig deeper into what it takes to make an impactful change in our society. I'll give a voice to charities, social enterprises, companies, grant makers, individuals, and government officials who all have one thing in common. They are keen to make a difference. We dive into practical solutions and observe the dynamics of those who have resources to give and those working with the beneficiaries on the ground. Let's start making an impact together. So, welcome. Today we have exciting organization as a guest. Social enterprise Clear Voice has an amazing story and amazing impact what they do. And I have here Rachel Tew being interviewed by me, and we talk about translation services turned into social good. Hello, Rachel. Lovely to meet you.
Hi, thank you for having me today.
So, Clear Voice, a social enterprise. Tell us what you do and what's the story behind the organization.
Yes, of course. So Clear Voice was born out of Migrant Help. So Migrant Help asylum seekers through the asylum process and also work with modern day slaves, as well as sort of EUSS and various other things. So back in the day, they needed to have interpreters. So interpreters so that they could understand what was happening. And that is how Clear Voice was born. It was really to help Migrant Help with communication barriers. So that's how it started. And we are a trading arm of Migrant Help. Since those many years ago, we have really grown and become a larger social enterprise with almost 50 staff now. So yeah, we were born out of helping the charity, and now we have lots and lots of various clients.
Cool. That's an amazing story that from charitable activity, there is a commercial company being born, but your commercial benefits will go then to Migrant Help, isn't it?
Exactly.
Right.
All of our profits that Clear Voice make go back to Migrant Help. Yeah.
Yes, that's an amazing cycle. So what are all these interpretation translation services that you offer?
Yeah, sure. So we offer telephone services. Now, this is an on-demand service, so a really easy to use, quick service where you would pick up the telephone and you can literally type in your PIN number, you type in the language code that you need, and you have a interpreter on the line within seconds. So really easy service to use. So that's probably our core service really the moment. We then have video interpreting, so on Teams or Zoom or whatever the client may need. We also do face-to-face, so we have national contracts, so we can cover most of the UK with face-to-face interpretation. And we also have translations, so anything to do with the written words. So that could be documents, it could even be a transcription, so transcribing interviews, or things like working on websites such as localization. So yeah, all of that sort of comes under the translation heading. So yeah, they're the four main services that we offer.
Okay, that's a large spectrum and of services, and obviously you have an amazing network of translators and interpreters. If you can suddenly, in a couple of seconds' time, help someone, which is amazing. So that means that there must be a lot of these kind of acute, like even crisis situations when people are in the need of this service.
Exactly. We have many charities that use us. Because they like the social value that we're donating our profits back, and some of the other projects that we also do. And B, because yes, in a crisis situation, so it may be domestic abuse charities, for example. It could be anything. We have a lot of refugee asylum charities that use us, even sort of larger charities. use us on their helplines. So yes, often it is crisis situations. And the great thing around Clear Voice is that because our interpreters are trained, on working with these vulnerable clients, and they're very used to it because they're working a lot with the contracts for migrant help. So yes, it can be used in a crisis situation for sure.
And it must be very, very, very important, like you said, this experience, because in any interpretation, the kind of the knowledge of the field that you're interpreting about is important, like in business or legal or something, and especially when people are very vulnerable and suffering trauma and stuff. So that sounds very, very amazing. So you mentioned charities as a client. Do you also work for public sector organizations?
Yes, we have various different clients. So obviously charities is a large one. We also work with local government. So like you say, like councils and things like that. Healthcare, so that could be NHS, doctors, dentists, anyone that may need us in the healthcare sector. We also work in education, so that's within schools, universities. Legal is another one. Even businesses, so that could be like banks on their helplines, for example, or it could even be a business where they perhaps have foreign or people who don't speak English as their first language. They may work there and not need to speak English, say if they're in a factory, for example, but they would need that if they were having a grievance or with HR or any health and safety training. So it could be in that respect. They're a real kind of wide spectrum of clients. We've also got around 200 languages. So, and that's growing all the time. We have a recruitment team that are, recruiting all of the time for new languages and new interpreters. Because like you say, you do need a big pool of interpreters to make sure that those on-demand calls can always be answered.
Wow, that's a lot of languages.
It
So,
is.
yeah, but I can also assume that a lot of private companies, need your services, and the best thing is that if let's say there is a big construction site somewhere operating for years, and there will be very diverse workforce there, they would be needing your services for exactly these kind of HR kind of safety reasons, because
Yeah,
not
and
every.
also that's a good point on construction. Construction, there has been cases of modern day slavery within construction sites. So again, construction will often want to use us for checking that their supply chain and their workers are aware of their rights and things like that. So yeah, construction is another one that certainly our services could be used.
Yeah, and then if they work with you and buy the services from you, that is a social value, like action itself, because of your kind of the charitable side of operations, and then you become part of their sustainable supply chain. Isn't that right?
Exactly. And yes, it's funny you should mention that. Actually, we are just currently working on our TOMS framework, which actually measures social values. So we will should be we're just waiting on a figure to be published out and be validated with the social value portal at the moment. So that will be really, really interesting to see. And as I think we touched on previously, the Empower project. So that's one of our projects where we have unemployed refugees, and then we will pay for them to do training. So the community level 3 training, which then they can then become an interpreter and freelance for whoever they may wish. So obviously that is also adding social value, and companies like, especially local authority, like you say, construction corporates, they're all very keen now, and as they should be, to be making sure that they are using companies that are ethical within their supply chains.
Wow, that Empower project, what age group are these candidates usually?
Oh, that can be a mix, as long as they're sort of above 18. So yeah, it can be a mix of ages. anyone is welcome to apply to the scheme, as long as they have obviously certain criteria, that they have to speak a certain level of English. They have to, we ask that they're unemployed because we're trying to help them get into employment. But you can find out all about the project on our website, and it also has a link to the application form on there as well. So if anyone wanted to refer into the Empower project, then all the information is there, or they can contact myself, after.
Do technically like a company, find candidates for the program, and you would train them if they were to pay their salary and then hire them as internal interpreters, especially larger companies who might have really diverse workforce across the country in different projects. They might even require some kind of in-house support. Would that be possible?
Well, it's not something that we've done previously, but it's certainly a discussion that we could have, because you never know. The project has really grown. It started with this tiny little pilot project where we put through 12 people, and since then it's really grown, and the cohorts every year have grown, and the numbers now are much bigger, and we're putting through sort of hundreds every year rather than small numbers, and that's what we're hoping to do. So we have big plans for the Empower project, and if that was something the company wanted, then I'm sure we could have a good conversation, because we're open to those sorts of conversations.
Great. So about Migrant Help, I know that you are not employed by them because you are a separate organization, but you work closely with this charitable arm. So what does Migrant Help actually do? What is their method of working?
How do you mean?
What kind of services they offer, how they help migrants.
Okay, so they help. So when people come to the UK, they will often need to go through sort of asylum system, and Migrant Help can offer sort of advice around that and make sure that they're getting what they should be getting. So they offer asylum services basically, and they have a helpline for that. They offer a slavery trafficking victim support. We do have a refugee resettlement team as well. There's an EU settlement scheme, so they do have sort of different arms within the organization, but their main thing that they do is the asylum services.
Okay, very kind of timely at the moment, as we know, a lot of refugees coming dangerously to a country, and many of them lost their families and their peer lives on the way. So there must be a lot of need for all kind of support to recover from that.
Absolutely, and any sort of help to claim asylum or navigate the asylum process, applying for sort of asylum support, including accommodation, things like that. That's what Migrant Help can help with.
So of course we all understand that interpretation and translation, it's so important for communication. But in terms of talking about now Clear Voices kind of impact and kind of what kind of outcomes you as an organization deliver, what are they? Are you measuring certain aspects of quality in your service, or kind of how the people who you have helped kind of have perceived it, or kind of what kind of a change you have delivered? Do you have like some kind of a data?
That's really interesting, actually. In terms of you mentioned the first part of that, in terms of quality of the interpretation, we do have a quality team within Clear Voice, and they would assess the quality of our interpreters. So yes, the quality of our interpreting is reviewed. In terms of what do our clients say, I mean, we have tons of really nice feedback all the time from our clients about the type of service that we offer. It's interesting what you say around collecting data of the lives that we've changed and stuff, because our clients would be then the charity rather than the end user. we don't have perhaps that side of the
Yes.
data, but it's an interesting question and something to certainly think about, and how we could perhaps collect those service user data. I know for sure that Migrant Help do that type of thing, but obviously our clients aren't just Migrant Help, they're a huge range. But yes, we collect certainly surveys and things from our clients, but not necessarily the actual end user.
Yeah. But anyway, this is super interesting, and Clear Voice is on What Impact platform. And just to recap, so Clear Voice is a social enterprise. You can buy various interpretation translation services and also add them to your sustainable supply chain, and at the same time help then Migrant Help, which is
Brilliant. Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Rachel. Do you have anything else you would like to say to the listeners?
No, I think that you've covered everything. Hopefully you've got my contact details. Yeah, just in case, it's Rachel, RACHAEL .Tew, TEW @clearvoice.org.uk. Anyone who wants to reach out.
Okay, thank you very much, and speak to you soon.
Bye.